Doctor Strange is the new Marvel film, starring a character just about as popular as Ant-Man. The film stars Beelzebub Candygram. The film stars Dangorak Cuckoo Clock. The film stars Brewery Cogglesworth. The film stars Butterstump Cottage Cheese. The film stars Boiler Dang Curdle Milk. The film stars Buckingham Cuckatoo, Burberry Cushy Rash, Rumplesack Crumplebutt, Danglerak Crumplesack as Doctor Strange, everyone's favorite Marvel character. Before I saw this movie, people told me this film is like being on LSD. When the film first started, I was like, wow, this is very experimental. Turns out the screen was broken, or maybe this is just part of the movie. It was very weird. So this happened, and then the trailers started. There were only 2 trailers, and then the movie glitched out like a second into it, and all the lights came back on. This was a very interesting choice by Marvel to do this. I gotta agree with the reviews that say this is Marvel's most daring film yet. I mean, what kind of film starts like this? So then we were just sitting in the darkness for like 10 minutes. Everyone's like, what the fuck, is the movie gonna start? And then the movie started in 3D, and we're at a 2D screening, so they had to stop the movie. And then that first look shit started playing, and then it stopped.
It's on sale now at fathomevents.com.
And then we waited in there for 5 more minutes, and then it started playing again, and then it stopped.
I guess I gotta join.
Sorry, folks, I had to say it's not a VCR. We can't just fast forward to the starting point.
And then finally, all the lights dimmed down. We sat in blackness for about 2 seconds, and then the lights came back on.
We're just in black.
So then, apparently the only movie that worked on the projector was the 3D version of the movie. So a dude came in and started handing out 3D glasses to everybody, and I had no choice but to see it in 3D. So you guys are in for a special treat, because I get to review this film as a 3D film and as a film. First of all, don't bother with the 3D. It sucks. Here's the thing about 3D. It takes a few seconds for your brain to process 3D. When you watch a movie like Avatar or Life of Pi, the 3D works really well, because all the shots are longer than a few seconds. If you were to say, watch the Bourne movie in 3D, you'd probably have a fucking headache, because your brain can't process that information that quick. Same thing with this. So that's all I gotta say about 3D. But what about the movie? Did I like the movie? Yeah. I'll start with all the bad stuff. First of all, Doctor Strange as a character is really a douchebag.
I reject it because I do not believe in fairy tales about chakras or energy or the power of belief. There is no such thing as spirit.
People told me he was going to be kind of a Tony Stark-ish asshole, and Tony Stark is a likable, fun, charismatic asshole. Doctor Strange is just an asshole. For most of the movie, he's just an extremely unlikable person. And like through the whole movie, you just want him to be grateful or sympathetic towards something. And you're like, come on, dude. This ancient society like has all these sacred rules, and Doctor Strange, even though he's like a new student, just constantly breaks all of them. Like, there's this book that they don't want you to touch because it could break the space-time continuum, basically. And he just touches it and fucks around with it. And then they catch him doing it, and he's like, what? I just wanted to, fuck around a little bit. He doesn't even, apologize for anything. Toward the end of the movie, the character becomes likable. But for the most part, I really didn't sympathize with Doctor Strange at all. I liked the other characters in the film much more than him. I think they could have done a better job adding some humanity to Doctor Strange and giving him a little more charisma.
He is arrogant to the point of being unlikable, but yet somehow you should still like him.
This movie really could have been helped by some cards telling me what date it is, because the whole movie feels like it happens in about a month, because it starts with Doctor Strange getting into an accident, which causes his hands to be fucked up. And then 2 scenes later, he's had 7 surgeries done, and he has no more money because he spent it all on surgeries. And you're like, when did that happen? It's been 2 minutes. And then this part's well-paced. He gets to the society or whatever, and they give him a bunch of training. And it's 10 minutes of him training, and he doesn't know anything. He can't figure anything out. And then eventually there's this scene where Tilda Swinton sticks him on Mount Everest, right? And he has to figure out how to get back on his own by making a portal. And instead of showing him, figuring it out, they cut to Tilda Swinton just waiting for him because they think it's funny, but it's not funny. I want to see what's going on with Doctor Strange. He's the character that's trying to figure this out. That's the interesting part. Then he finally makes it through the portal. And then, like 2 minutes later, Doctor Strange knows everything. He knows how to make portals, he knows how to make weapons, he knows how to break through the space-time continuum, he's read every book, until the Swinton comes in like, when you first got here, you knew nothing. And now you know so much. This could have been fixed by like 10 more minutes of scenes of him trying to figure out his powers, learn how they work. This may sound like a weird complaint, but the movie is too short. We don't get enough time with him. And instead of focusing on interesting stuff like that, the movie focuses on these comedy scenes, which don't work at all. The comedy in this movie falls really flat. There's this really, really bad scene with Beyonce. Doctor Strange comes in and calls the librarian dude Beyonce, and then the following scene, the librarian is like listening to Beyonce music as Doctor Strange is stealing books, and it's so cringy and bad. There's a few other little things that bothered me throughout the film, but those were the main problems I had. Okay, so far I did a lot of complaining, and this movie has a decent amount of flaws. But on the other hand, it has so many great moments. Every single action scene in this movie is amazing. This is some of the best action I've seen in a movie in a while. Probably since Mad Max Fury Road, honestly. It's not as good as Mad Max Fury Road, but the action scenes were genuinely impressive. And it's very hard to impress me with action scenes. They mess with gravity and time. There's a whole action scene where they're running through the city and the city's like folding in on itself and gravity's constantly changing. There's action scenes where time is stopping and going in reverse and they're fighting as like cars are going in reverse on the road. It's really impressive stuff. And the effects team that worked on this deserves so much praise because they did an amazing job. It's worth seeing this movie just for the action scenes. It makes up for the weak writing and character development a lot. My favorite character in this film is Tilda Swinton. Tilda Swinton is that kind of actor who fully gets invested in the role she's playing, and she has the best written character in the film, and she's really dedicated to this. You can tell she's reserved and kind, but she's extremely dangerous when she has to be. Her performance is so subtle and well done. I loved her in this. Fisher Ford is good in it too. The guy who played Wong was pretty good, even though he has some of the worst jokes in the movie. As far as romances go in these Marvel movies, Benedict Cumberbatch and Rachel McAdams isn't the worst pairing. She's not a love interest necessarily, they're more friends. Because Doctor Strange is such an asshole, he would never have a love interest, which I liked. The villain is flat, sure. He's not the worst Marvel villain by far. At least you understand what the hell he's trying to do. Even though I complained about the pacing earlier, the movie doesn't feel too long at all. If anything, it's too short, because we needed more time to develop Doctor Strange as a character and show him training. But I don't think I would cut out anything, aside from some bad comedy scenes. I admire Marvel for trying something different. This is a very odd concept for a movie, and I admire them because this was probably extremely hard to pull off and not make it really silly. I really just had a problem with the writing, which is, you know, a big complaint. It's not a perfect movie. I wouldn't say it's a great movie. If I were to rank it on the Marvel scale, I'd say it's like around here somewhere. I want to give it a 7, but it's not that good. I've been swapping between 6 and 7 all day. Not that these number scores matter even.
I came at Doctor Strange and the comics of Doctor Strange through people being interested in me for the role in the film. And I found him incredibly arrogant